I would like to start by telling you about my grandmother, Hajiya Atta. I was 13 when I moved in with her. Atta was not like your normal grandma. She was strict and instilled in me values and skills needed to function properly in the society. When I was lost, Atta would hold my hand and show me the way. When I did wrong, Atta would gather the neighbors and taunt me. She was the one who wore fire on her tongue in the 5th stanza of my poem, I Was Raised by Rebels. Atta was pain and pleasure at the same time. The older I got, the more I understood her. Her goal was to prepare my sisters and I for the real world, as she says, to the best of her abilities, and she was so intentional about it. Many times, she was the guiding light in our lives and our greatest influence. And so the experiences she had laid the groundwork for the future of our lives. In essence, it had a great impact in my life. For anyone looking to take on this path, here are some of my learnings being an activist, a broadcaster, and a poet. It's like walking different paths at the same time. Imagine going out to protest at noon and coming back to broadcast at dawn, and you're literally seeing yourself on the screen protesting and broadcasting at the same time. And you're asked to pick a side. Pick. You see, how I was able to go from grandma's daughter to making an impact, I will simplify this through the 4 most frequent questions I get asked. 1, do I need to have it all? No, you don't. Oftentimes, we tend to wait to hit that jackpot or be in certain positions before we act. Truth is, to make an impact, you can start from your immediate environment, and you need to be intentional about it. My biggest breakthrough in life is through volunteering. Volunteering took me places and made me meet people, very important people I wouldn't have if I was just being my grandma's daughter. From a radio show that created an awareness and allowed women and girls to express their views in the conversation about women's rights, to community mobilization and sensitization, the list goes on. People thought I had lost it. All of that for free? You're being used, they say. What they didn't realize at the time was that I derived joy from all of it, and so I was happy to be used. And happily, I started to make small changes, which had a few impacts in my life. Now the point is, whether it's teaching younger people, outreaches, or community engagement, you can make a real difference by volunteering for a cause. Usually, the more local you can volunteer, or the more focused the action point is, the better. To start with, you have to be intentional. Focus on how you can help your local area or community. This is something really small that will make a big impact. Now that you know that you don't have to have it all, it's time to keep it going. But how can you keep it going? It is by identifying something you are most passionate about, like a niche. When you find that niche, be intentional about it by dedicating time and energy towards learning skills to grow. And you have to be disciplined to make it possible. When you feel stuck, remember, being stuck isn't a feeling. It's a choice. So if you feel stuck but aren't willing to take action to improve your situation, then you have chosen to be stuck. And so the solution may not be authentic or automatic or easy, but it's there for you to choose. So choose wisely and be intentional and keep it going. 9 years ago, I wrote a collection of poems. I was grilled at the Writer's Spell organized by the Association of Nigerian Authors. I had no idea what I wanted to do after the spell. It was in 2013, and I had no idea at all. I'm just a creative young girl with zero account balance and a manuscript to her name, wanting to be one of those big names. Sometimes I envision someone making those payments, but never have I thought of self-publishing. I mean, I knew it was something I couldn't afford, so I dumped it on the shelves. The first time self-publishing crossed my mind was when I got my first few euros in 2019. It was my pocket money for a fully funded training organized by TAS Panther in Berlin, Germany. All because I volunteered. While everyone used their monies to shop and do other things, I held on to mine. I mean, I had everything I needed in a strange country. Besides the fact that I wanted my sisters to feel this new currency, my heart yearned to own a book. Poems of a new country, new friends crept in. So immediately, I came back to Nigeria. I began to turn the pages of my earlier drafts. I felt I had outgrown some of the poems, but these euros won't just be sitting with me, so I paid a publisher. At this time, I knew what I wanted. I wanted to dig into my past. I wanted to rewrite some of the poems, replace some. I wanted to write about my activism, my experiences of abuse, loss, love, gender, of how I could fix them all poetically. Apart from learning to express myself through poetry better, I learned so many things taken on this journey, which had shaped me into who I am today. I learned to celebrate the little wins. I learned that it is okay to grow, to blossom, to wait your turn. After all, life not turn by turn. And here I am today, which takes me to my next point of finding a mentor. Now that you have identified a niche, it's time to find a mentor. Someone you look up to and admire in a particular field that you have selected. I saw Atta step in for women who came to her for help, so I learned to extend my hands to women until when I started the radio show, it was as if I was born to do it. Mentors are individuals who have walked the path you envision to tread, so you can learn from their setbacks and their growth. Like Albert Einstein said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So mentors are there so we can have a smooth transition. Should I make a plan? This is one of the questions I get asked all the time. So while I was growing up, I had only 3 options to pick from, and it was either to be a lawyer, a doctor, or an engineer. I love the idea of healing or helping people out, so I wanted to become a doctor. But the medicals was not my calling, as my fate was decided, and life showed me I could be a superhero without a white coat. See the S on my chest, shine brightest, because I let my passion lead the way. Today, I strive to make an impact without being a doctor. Which brings me to my last point. A question that keeps reoccurring all the time is, shouldn't I be a certain age? In our youth, we long to be older because we're under the impression that it's only when we get old that we can make an impact in the world. Need I remind you of how old Malala was? Malala made a difference for many at the UN when she presented education as an international woman rights. Or how 17-year-old Greta Thunberg protested to reduce the effects of climate change. How can a 17-year-old girl dare to help save the planet in any way she could? Laughable, right? But she did it. I'm also reminded of the story of a young child in the Book of Kings who was just 8 years old when he became king. At an age when most of the children are just starting to make their own beds, Josiah was managing a kingdom. You heard that right. Now back to Amrah. Before I turned 18, I was very much curious about the women who came to my grandmother with red eyes and what they wanted or why she was so angry. After she died, I wondered what will happen to those women and who they will go for help. So I started an initiative called Salma Atta Foundation for Women and Girls Support. It's a non-profit organization designed to make women and girls develop skill sets that will guarantee positive impact in their lives. This initiative also provided services to victims of gender-based violence and tells stories of survivors in a unique way to inspire others. Through my work, I have the rare privilege of working with underserved women and girls. Hence, I remain committed to women and girls living in underserved communities. Going forward, I hope to address gaps and challenges faced by women and girls by organizing sessions to enlighten and mentor young girls. I also intend to involve major stakeholders to push for policy change. Like Tupac Shakur will say, I may not change the world, but I may spark the idea that will change the world. When it comes to making this world a better place, we can learn a thing or two from these young change makers that have paved the way for many generations to come. No one is too young to make an impact. If Amrah Aliyu gets it done, so can you. Thank you.